One
We're
or the
free
other.
bleeding. It's like the song Free Bird, but free bleed.
I was thinking free falling. Free bleeding.
I'm thinking of like Leonard Skinner.
I'm thinking of, and I'm free. Free bleeding.
Okay, stop talking about free bleeding.
Wait, what was that rollerblading? Oh, that was Brink. Never mind.
Yeah.
That won't
Not
work. Why did I think that would be something that would work for us?
Because why would you not want to make Brink happen in some capacity into
It would
anything
just
that
be
you do?
bleed. Wow.
The cool thing is that like people who don't free bleed like don't even know what it is probably, so it's fine.
Everyone free bleeds here.
Like day 3. I mean day 4.
Everyone free bleeds down
free bleeding.
here.
And it's day 4. I'm free bleeding.
I think it's very fitting that we are being so free spirited today, because it sounds like our guest is quite the free spirit as well.
Yes, we do have a guest today. She is a flight attendant, and I worked with her in Des Moines at our office, and she left us to go become a flight attendant. So I wanted to touch base with her. I honestly really haven't seen her or talked to her about this episode yet. So I'm excited to see what she has to say and how her life's going. But prior to that...
Yeah, and I'm excited to meet her. So
yeah, she's
literally
fun.
never, I don't even know what she looks like. So this is truly a first meeting for me. A first bleeding.
Oh my gosh. Are we really going to use that? First bleeding.
I think we need to be who we are.
Yeah. Well, welcome to Wait You're Mad. I'm Maddie.
And I'm Lexie.
And we're your hosts.
Welcome. Welcome to the show. Like we mentioned, we have a guest today. We're going to be asking her about her life as a flight attendant, which I can only imagine is like flying by the seat of your pants. Wait,
good one,
is that how you say it?
Flying. The way you said it was really funny. Flying by the seat of your pants.
I want to suck your blood. It comes back to blood every time.
Why? Is it my scarf? Is that it? Is it too red?
Yeah, that's totally it. It has nothing to do with my time of month at all.
That special time of the month.
5, 6, 7, 8. DivaCup, it's the way to go. DivaCup, if you know, you know. Join the revolution, feel the freedom and flow. DivaCup, your monthly time to glow. Sponsor us. Maddie loves you, by the way.
Yeah, I actually recommend the DivaCup to all of my friends, and I think I have a pretty good conversion rate. If you want to know more, let me know.
I have an idea that would help DivaCup sell more DivaCups. I think we can do...
That has to be their goal, I think.
Actually, get in touch with me. Maybe I'll keep this on the down low. Just kidding. I think you need little sinks inside of public bathroom stalls, like next to the toilet, so you can flush it out real quick, you know?
Yes.
Just like right next to you, like step your foot on a pedal and it just goes kind of like a porta potty sink.
Yes, just like with shooting water, so you can clean it out quick. You could use the toilet as like where you dump it out. That's fine. We just need we need some water here.
A little spritz to, you know, get
That's
ready.
The hard part. It's like I've been in some situations in airports with a DivaCup where I've had to like do it in the public sink, and it's when it's emergency, you have to.
It's part of the reason that I can't commit to it full time. I do have one, and I use it depending on the day. But if it's going to be inconvenient, I'll swap out a real tampon. I'm not a true DivaCupper for that reason.
You're not a true diva.
I'm not a true diva, but God knows Maddie is. What kind of glass you got your wine in?
This is a DivaCup. No, this is a this kind of looks like one actually.
Yeah, it kind of
And yours
does.
looks like a disc. Yours is like
It's a flex disc. Yeah, those didn't work for me.
me either. Me either. Is
I
it
want to love
either?
them.
Either?
I think it's like towelette.
A towelette. Okay. A gelette. Okay.
Gillette. Okay.
Okay.
Anyways, let's get
Yeah.
into this episode. All right. So before we have Emily join, you know I gotta beat you to it. What are you mad at this week? Mad about?
This week,
Mm-hmm.
I am mad because I have not worked out since Saturday, and I feel like my body's filled with rotten sludge, and I'm just feeling crappy. So I'm like usually a hot yoga 3 times a week and like walking 2 times a week type person, and I'm struggling. So tomorrow morning before we leave for Kansas City, we're going to go to an Iowa State game at Arrowhead Field, the football game this weekend. And so I'm going to go to hot yoga before we leave. And I'm committing to that so that I don't keep this going.
I totally understand what you are saying, and I am feeling the same exact way. And it's extra frustrating because I actually plan to work out every day this week, and other obligations took over, which I could not say no to. So it was really like I wanted to, and it hasn't happened.
Mine's the same, or it was like either or sleep, you know, and like election night, I stayed up till like 1:30.
Oh, I know you called me.
The next night, well, I called you at like 8, not 1:30.
It was later than 8.
But yeah, so then the next day I went out for dinner with friends, and it's stuff that like only happens like once a quarter. So I just couldn't say no. So it's just that week. I have to get over it. But also like I wanted to sleep in and not have to wake up early. So
Yeah.
I prioritized sleep, which I am proud of because I think that was good. But now I'm low-key dying. So yeah, that's why I'm a little mad. But
That's
I'll be fine.
interesting. So I kind of take that standpoint as I kind of take that view as well, that I think being low on sleep is probably more harmful to your body than skipping a workout. So I will always choose to catch up on sleep if I'm low, which I am right now. So I will be sleeping in the morning. As
I agree.
long as I
Sleep
can.
is more important than
Yeah.
working out, but they're both very important to
Yeah,
me
they are.
personally, but it's more of a mental thing. Working out
Yeah.
is mental for me. So, but obviously, yeah,
In
sleep
a
is
perfect
important.
world, you would have both. So yes.
Yes. What about you? What are you mad about?
I am mad because a couple weeks ago I took our friend Maggie's engagement photos, and we went to a beautiful spot, which if you were standing there, you would look out and say, wow, what a beautiful bluff that overlooks the Mississippi River on a clear blue sky day. But however, where the sun was at,
This sounds
cannot
this
control.
sounds like it's getting really dark.
I cannot control where the sun sets. And if you're a photographer, you'd probably understand, like, looking at the view, it looks beautiful, but for photos, it was not ideal, the placement of the sun. And I have been trying to edit these photos for the past couple of days, and I had to change my editing style to accommodate this weird contrast that's happening in the photos because everything's kind of backlit and the photos aren't cohesive. It's just really making me mad. And then when I was about to export them, my catalog corrupted, which means I had to start over. And so I almost haven't finalized. I will be sending them off after we film this podcast, but I am livid about it. It has taken entirely too much time.
And I'm assuming that's like why you haven't worked out. That's one of your
She has an engagement party this weekend in a couple of days, and so she wants to print some off, which she should be able to. But yeah, so I've been working overtime trying to catch up, and it should never take this long. And she's one of my best friends, so I just want to do a good job for her too on top of it. And I don't feel like it's my normal work, but what do you do?
And you're going to be looking at those photos forever. It's for you too, right?
I
Like
keep
it's for
telling
her, but it's
her-
also
I keep telling her when she books her actual wedding photographer, they'll probably throw in engagement pictures in their package as well. So she'll have more, which thank God, in my opinion. She might look at them and say they're fine. They're just not my normal style. They feel off to me.
But these will be good for a starter pack. A wedding starter pack.
A wedding starter pack.
Damn. I mean, like, that's everybody's worst fear is working on a project or spending a ton of time doing something like that and losing it. So I think we've
It's
all
never
been
happened.
there, but it's been a long time. So yikes, that sucks. I'm sorry.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for your sympathy. I'm like deliriously tired.
I know. You saw me when I came in this and like was meeting up with you and like what I was doing. I was like overly tired, like acting crazy.
Yeah, she was making faces at me that I haven't seen since high school.
I just wanted to come in with some high energy because I have to manifest that.
God knows we need it.
Yeah. Okay. Well, what do you say I text Emily?
Bring, bring, banana phone.
Well,
Okay.
welcome, Emily. Thanks for coming today.
Thank you for having me.
I'm so excited to talk to you because it's been what I thought was 2 years. You said 3 years since I've seen you last. And we worked together at our office in Des Moines. And Emily, you're originally from Virginia, correct?
Correct.
And then moved to Des Moines, Iowa for a little bit for a male companion.
As one does.
So is it safe to say it didn't work out, or?
It didn't. No. He moved to Denver for me, and it was just great until it wasn't. And I think, it's just hard to live with a partner at like such a young age too.
Oh,
so.
for sure. For sure. It's a good way to figure out if you're a match or not, though. That's one way to.
It was 3 months living together, and I was like, oh, this is not for me.
So you went from Des Moines to Denver?
Right. And then I moved to San Diego a year and a half ago.
Cool.
Yeah.
I'm envious.
A lot has changed. That's awesome.
Yeah.
So we were just talking about what we were mad about this week. Emily, what do you have to add for your last week? Is there anything that made you mad?
Yeah, so there's like tours that go on in downtown San Diego. I live in the Gaslamp district. And every now and again, people are walking by, stopping by my apartment, and I live in this older apartment. I was like, I'm going to hear what they're saying about my apartment. This is so weird. I walk out, and apparently my apartment is a refurbished brothel, which is just so crazy to me.
Okay, how did you find that out?
There's like this woman who hosts these crazy tours. They always go down my block, stop right at my door. And, I just like never cared to listen, just walking out. And she's like, and this here used to be a brothel and then owned by, I don't even know the guy's name, but I'm just like, hi guys, walking through.
That's funny. I was just going to ask, do you wave? What do you do in that moment?
I do a little pose.
Yeah.
This was a brothel. I just found out last night.
Yeah.
Welcome to my home.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm just as surprised as you are.
Yeah.
Wow. So is it like a dark history type of tour kind of thing, like an Airbnb kind of tour lady?
Yeah, like I think San Diego is super touristy, and there's so many different hotels in the downtown area, so a lot of people stay here and do like these ghost tours. And I think this is like part of the ghost tour, but like a different, like just like the history of like the Gaslamp district.
Okay.
So, yeah.
I've never been to San Diego before, but I've heard amazing things. Maybe sometime we'll have to go, Lexie, and we can visit.
Mm-hmm.
Emily?
Yeah.
I really want to go to San Diego. It sounds like you'd be a really good tour guide.
Oh, I would show you all the brothels.
Maybe you can just like get the plane to just come pick us up and take us back since you're a flight attendant.
Yeah, I would just tell them to stop. We need to do an emergency landing.
Yeah, just a quick pit stop. Nothing too fancy.
Exactly.
So you're not coming through Iowa that often anymore, huh?
I'm not. I was a lot when I was in Denver, but down here we just do like a lot of West Coast flying and like Mexico.
Nice.
Yeah.
You don't have to say what airline you work for if you don't want to, because I know you're going to be spilling some secrets, but we can edit it out if we need to. But what airline do you work for? I'm just curious.
I work for SkyWest. So it's
Okay.
like a domestic airline for Delta, Alaska, American, and United. So we're contracted by them to fly like smaller planes to different routes where they wouldn't profit flying like a 300-seater or a 175-seater.
Got it. So you're with the same airline that you were originally.
Correct.
Correct.
I haven't left.
Okay. And so it's almost like comparative to like American Eagle, like how
Right,
American
exactly,
Airlines.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So you're going to like interesting, strange towns probably a lot of the time.
Yeah, like Minot, North Dakota. I didn't even know that existed. Like,
I've
and
never been to North Dakota.
I don't
and
know what that is.
I like live in Iowa, and like there are more obscure parts of the US than Iowa, and I would say that like that's one of them for sure.
yeah, I mean, the people are super nice. It's just super weird.
Okay,
Yeah.
so to get started about talking about your life as a flight attendant, I want to do some icebreakers, and we're all going to answer these questions. Both of you, do you prefer a window or an aisle seat, and why?
I like a window seat. I don't get up during flight, so there's nothing more annoying to me than someone like tapping me, like, "Hey, like, just gonna use the restroom real quick." Like, no, you should order an aisle seat too. Then, if you're getting up all the time, I don't know. I just think it's rude. So I'm like, I always like a window seat, and then I can like lay my head on the window and fall asleep.
Yep, I'm window for that reason. I need to be able to rest my head or my body up against something.
Yeah.
If I want to sleep, if it's a domestic flight and I'm on my way there, I'm going aisle because I'm probably drinking something. If I want an alcoholic beverage, and then I can get up and go to the bathroom without bugging people. And then if I'm on my way back home from somewhere, I'm probably exhausted and wanting to sleep. Or if I'm on an international or long flight, I'll need to sleep. But same as you guys, I need the window if I'm planning on sleeping for sure.
I got a bladder of steel. I never,
Yeah.
like she said, I never get up during a flight. I sit down, I buckle my seat right away because I'm like I'm locked in for the flight.
Good for you guys. I just need to get up and like walk. Like I'm one of those bitches. Like Emily, you probably are like, oh no, you're one of them. Fuck you.
Yeah. It's just like hanging out, wanting to chat, and the guy like, "Hey, like, just gotta, get moving." I'm like, like,
No, I'm not talking to other people, but yeah.
Such a frequent flyer. I
Some
mean,
year.
we've talked about it on other podcasts. Maddie is I should have said that in the last podcast I said you're a low-key person, except for when it comes to wine, your pinky goes in the air. I feel like flying is like the other pinky goes up too.
It's true. It's true. But when you were like, when you travel a lot, and like this year I didn't travel as much as the past 2 years, but when you're flying a lot, like you obviously do this, Emily, but like you need to be comfortable, and it's worth like having a better seat if you are constantly traveling, because you have to be comfortable along the way or you're just going to be miserable all the time.
I 100% agree. And I think once you make like the jump from like upgrading, it's so hard to go back. It's like,
Yeah.
you just can't. It's like,
agree.
it's just too difficult. I just like can't ever do it.
No, I agree. Okay, do you guys have a favorite snack or a beverage on a flight?
I think like it kind of depends on the day, like the time of day, but normally like I'm a salty girl. Like so like pretzels, that's for me. But I always, like, if I'm traveling, even if it's like for a work trip, but I don't have to work that day, I'll get an alcoholic beverage. What if I'm in the air? Like, I'm not getting a Diet Coke. I'm gonna get I'm gonna get a mimosa or a Bloody Mary during the day, and then
Okay.
like I have like little lime packets I bring, and then I'll
Mm.
like put little lime packets in my Bloody Mary.
Okay,
That's
that's
smart.
a life hack, dude.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you can get like these crystallized lime packets at like Target, wherever, like route, or you guys have like King Supers, or wait, what do you guys have?
That's Denver.
High V.
Hy-Vee,
Yeah.
Hy-Vee.
Yeah,
You could probably get them at Hy-Vee. Yeah,
you can. My
Hey,
coworker gets them.
they're so
Emily,
good.
Yeah.
life update on Hy-Vee. Okay. They were just voted the best grocery store in the nation. So you have the ability to proudly say that you have been and frequented Hy-Vees now. Sorry to get off track here. Lexie, what's your favorite snack or beverage?
So something about a flight also makes me crave Bloody Marys. I don't know what it is about flying. I'm not always a diehard Bloody Mary girl, but I think it was our flight to Austin, Texas, Maddie. They had an awesome Bloody Mary mix on the flight. And I wish I could remember the name, but it was impressive for an airline Bloody Mary.
I
It
feel like
wasn't
they
the
always have
canned
like
stuff.
the Mr. T thing or whatever that's called.
It was
Mrs.
in a
T's.
bag. It was like a bloody bag.
Oh, I remember what you're talking about.
Yeah,
And it
it
had
was
like a little
so
funnel
good.
thing out of the bag. Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, Bloody Marys for drinks usually. And then where was it that we had like a little charcuterie thing on our flight?
Mm,
It was it on the way to Mexico?
maybe. And they're terrible. Like those.
No, I mean all the snacks are kind of terrible. Let's be
Yeah.
real.
Yeah.
We were pleasantly surprised with the little package because
Oh, the
we weren't
charcuterie are like,
upgraded. We weren't upgraded to first class, but we had like comfort level seats that came with like one drink and a snack or something. Remember?
yeah. That's because I'm an American Airlines frequenter.
Jesus Christ.
American Airlines.
But it wasn't bad. I was gonna ask Emily, are there any snacks or drinks that you're like, hell no, do not order this on a flight? Like if you only knew.
I guess like not so the snacks, but like at meals, I won't ever eat an airplane meal. I don't think they're good. Like I've tried them, like, and I work for all the partners, so it's like I've tried them all. I just like get grossed out. I'm like, they're on the plane for God knows how long. You know, I just don't think it's like that good.
So from like a food safety perspective, almost like this has
Yeah.
been here for a long time and maybe shouldn't be eaten at this point.
Yeah, that's how I feel. I
Yeah.
feel like dry ice and stuff, but I just don't think it's the same.
Yeah. How many
Mhm.
people actually order food on flights? Like 1 out of 20?
No, a lot actually do.
Really?
I'm like, come on. Well, and it's so annoying because I mean, it's fine to do more work, but it's like, guys, like pack your own snacks, you know.
Yeah.
And you know, there are certain like our on our United planes, like they don't have ovens, so everything's like cold meals, and some of them are like cold deli sandwiches, and people be eating those up. It is so gross to me. I just walked and scarfed it down, and you are gonna be sick. Like,
But
Oh
you're
my God.
right. It's like, why would you want to pay like top dollars for this disgusting food when you can bring your own snacks for way less?
I
yeah,
usually
and
bring my own. I brought like a Lunchable before. I mean, granted, we're talking the same shit that's on the plane, but at least it's from my house. And it costs like
Yeah.
$1.89, not $10 literally for
$10
the most
actually.
plain salami and provolone little charcuterie thing in the world.
Mhm. With like
Or I'll
2
bring a
grapes.
bag of potato chips. Like I'm a potato chip and champagne person on a flight. That's like the best combo in the world. I love having champagne, watching my show. I just set it up perfectly and I eat potato chips and drink champagne. And it's like my tradition on an airplane. I highly recommend it.
Oh,
good.
that actually like sounds like a good little combo.
It is. I don't know what it is. And I feel like airplanes, and I've heard this, and tell me if I'm correct or if you've heard this, you lose your taste when you go up in altitude. And so even if that's why like airplane meals are so bland, because you can't taste it anyways. And I think you only keep like a little bit of like your umami taste buds intact.
I never knew that, but I feel like that makes a lot of sense.
And that's why like you're not enjoying anything up there. So it doesn't really matter.
Someone just told me that, and when we were on our last flight, we had like the Skittles gummies and we tested it. I even plugged my nose and they put one in my mouth and I was able to tell them what flavor it was.
So is that a myth? Do you think it's a myth? Did you bust it?
I don't know. I'm just saying maybe I'm a psychic and I knew what it was, or maybe I tasted it.
Well, it's not that it's gone. It's that you don't have the same intensity.
Yeah. So maybe, I mean, that sounds about right.
Yeah.
Is
Emily,
it true
look into
that
this.
is it true that when you're in the air, you get drunk faster?
Oh, 100%.
Okay.
Because you're at a higher altitude. Like I feel like it's like even like that when you live in like the mountains, your body needs to adjust to the altitude change. So like I've seen like grown big men, like 45-year-old big old men have like 4 drinks and like a 3-hour flight and just like be stumbling.
That's
like,
awesome.
Gosh. They're like getting up from their seat and I'm like, oh, like I got you.
I just didn't know how well like they regulated, the pressure and things like that, if it really did have that big of a contribution to it. But I mean, again, makes sense because when I'm in Breckenridge, I like blacked out off of a few beverages in college. Had to lay down for a little bit.
Yeah. So I think that for sure like is true that you get drunker quicker on planes.
And in hot tubs.
Do you have to regulate how many like drinks people can have on flights?
So we don't really have like a regulation, but like once people start showing signs of intoxication is like where we like normally slow it down. But I don't ever really tell them I'm slowing it down. I just water down their alcohol. Like, cause like they like minis. So they're like I'll have, a vodka soda. I just put like a little bit enough to taste and then just water and then a bunch of soda water. And I'm like, oh, they won't know the difference. And they never do.
Interesting. Whenever I get an alcoholic beverage, I feel like they're in the little shooters that I like mix myself, but maybe I'm just like low class that no one's mixing my drinks for me.
Well, I normally like work in first class. Like I don't like. So
I knew it. So you're like, yeah, you peasant. You mix your own. Cool. Well, then you can't water down my drinks. I'm getting drunk.
That's hilarious. Now, to move like from the back of the plane to the front of the plane, like as a flight attendant, like did that take time, or is that like an upgrade of a promotion, or does it really matter?
No, it's not a promotion. But I think so when I first started as a flight attendant, like you're on call for work. And as you're with the company longer, you're able to like choose what kind of trips you want and what position, like whether it be in the back or the front. And I just don't like working in the back. They ask too much of you when they don't, because they don't ever travel. So they're like, oh, like, there's not space for my bag. And I was like, oh, no way. Like, okay, we'll have to check it for you.
No way. Well, also,
like, yeah, you're the last one on the fucking plane, dude. Like,
oh my gosh. And they always throw the biggest bitch fit. They're like, I have important stuff in here. In your bag that's already like halfway broken. The zipper's broken. The handle's broken. Shut up. No, you don't.
You're going to North Dakota, bitch.
Yeah, come on. You're going to Minot. Stop.
That's hilarious. Well, not only that, but I'm sure like the attendant to passenger ratio is much higher. Like you probably have to take care of many more passengers in the back compared to like
Yeah,
the front
exactly.
by yourself.
Yeah.
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 That makes sense.
So yeah, I don't prefer it back there. It's just, and you make all these
Back there.
announcements. Yeah, well, and you have to make all these crazy announcements, and everyone always comments something on my voice, like especially in the wintertime, because I always get sick. So they're always like, honey, like, do you need some tea? And I'm like, no, it's just naturally have a raspy voice, guys. I'm not sick, I promise.
That's funny. Gosh, maybe I need to figure out my flying situation and get to the front of the plane, but I wish I'm gonna turn the back of the plane into like riding the back of the bus when you're younger. Like all the cool kids were in the back of the bus, right? I'm gonna
Yeah.
make it a thing. I'm gonna make it a thing. We have a whole outline and we're still talking about if you get drunk faster in the air. Yeah.
We know what's important to all of us. So remember the days when you weren't a flight attendant and you had no idea what these people did? Like, talk to us like we're in kindergarten. Like, what do you do? Like, what's your typical day look like?
So we get scheduled for flights like a month in advance, at least now with my seniority. So I know where I'm going a month prior. But I start every trip in San Diego and then end every trip in San Diego. And they can be anywhere from like one day, like you just work 4 flights that day, or it can be like 4 days long where I'm gone for multiple days. But basically, like, for example, I flew San Diego to Bend, Oregon, back to San Diego, then to San Francisco, spent the night in San Francisco. And we have like contracted hotels. So like when we're spending the night somewhere, like we don't pay for that. Our company does, and they pick us up at the airport. We can go out with the crew. So like our crews are made up of 2 flight attendants and 2 pilots. And normally you're with those people for the same amount of days. Like if you're working 4 days, you're with them for 4 days. It's kind of uncommon that we swap out. So you get to know like the people you're working with, and you can go out for drinks, go out to dinner, whatever it may be, or you can just like kind of chill in your hotel room. But normally I try and go out like once a trip with the crew. But sometimes they don't want to. They're not having it. They're 62, want to call their, partners, and that's totally fine. But it just kind of varies crew to crew.
So are you currently single or?
I am, yeah.
You hesitated a little bit.
Yeah. So
yeah, I think I like see people, but for like dating in San Diego is super weird. Like I've dated a lot in a lot of different states, and the boys out here are just like different.
yeah.
Like it's Peter Pan land, and they are just like crazy to me. I don't know. It's just like very different from how I grew up and like how I've dated. So it's like you gotta like date multiple people, and I'm like, I don't have like the energy or time for it.
Sounds exhausting. Well, that's what I asked, because I was wondering, you said you spend so much time with like the other crew members. I didn't know if it's kind of like the restaurant business where they end up dating each other because they spend so much time together, or if you're going out at night, if things just like organically happen, or is it like more professional than what I'm imagining?
No, I mean, I think that definitely happens for a lot of people. I've just always made it a point to like not get involved with people from work, because aviation in general is so small. I like was in Rome with my mom and met someone who worked for my company while in Rome with my mom. Like it's just wild to me how small aviation is. Everyone knows each other. And I'm like, if I were to ever date someone like in aviation, that would be the person I marry. Because I'm like, I'm not like getting involved in any of this. But I think also I don't find pilots that attractive.
Yeah.
Like they're all like dweebs. Oh my goodness. No, that's all they ever wanted to do. And they're like, I watched the planes land when I was 4 years old and knew this was for me. Like, and it's just like,
yeah,
it's just all the same thing. And they don't ever talk about anything other than work. So it's like very uninteresting to me. And they all look the exact same. And they all have their Top Gun mustache now.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, you're not Miles Teller. You can never be Miles Teller. So stop.
I haven't seen like a young pilot in a long time. Are there young pilots out there, or are they all like?
I just flew with a 22-year-old first officer, and it was
Oh,
my version of hell on earth.
oh,
Our captain was a boomer. He's 65, like or 64, retiring in January. And it was a Gen Z and a boomer working together. And they were just fighting the entire time. You know? Because, like, the kid's, like, better. Like, he's quicker at doing things, but he's not, like, as meticulous. And, like, the older guy's like, no, you have to do this. Listen to me. And it's just like, oh, my God.
So you have a roommate who's a flight attendant as well. And so you guys kind of get each other, I'm sure. I'm sure it's really hard to like date or understand people if they don't live that lifestyle or comprehend it. How often are you away from home and what's your schedule like?
Yeah, like I'm typically away from home 3 nights a week, like 4 days. Normally my schedule is like Sunday through Wednesday. I'll be wherever. And that's just kind of how my schedule has worked over like the last year or so, because I just like to have like Thursday, Friday, Saturday off.
that's a
Well,
good
yeah.
schedule.
You're
I would
a
say
single
you
girl
got it.
in San
You're
Diego.
set up. Yeah.
Yeah.
And did you go to work hungover on Sunday?
Most times, yeah. And I think that's like the most fun actually, because I feel like I'm just like having a good old time. Like I'm not like a bad hungover anymore. Like I'm like I think it's all like a mindset. I'm like I bet everyone on this flight's hungover. Let's see if we can get them a little more drunk. And like every time, like they're like, oh, I'll have coffee, and I'm like Bailey's. And they're like, don't tempt me. I'm like, exactly what I'm trying to do. Like, I'll be like a little flirty with the passengers, and then they'll be like, okay, okay. I'm like, I just think it's fun.
You're
I
like,
think
I
it's
wish I could.
yeah, yeah, yeah. It's like my performance, like on planes. I'm like acting. I feel like
You're just like being competitive with yourself about it a little bit.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So our episode that we did 2 weeks ago was my mom was on it, and we were talking about the service industry and working in restaurants. And what did you say, Lexie? What's serving like?
Prostitution with their clothes on. But do you
I mean,
get
like,
tips?
but like
Do
you
get
said,
tips?
it's like your thing. Like you're just having fun with it. Like you're
Yeah.
Well, and it's like, are you gonna see these people again? Probably not. Like,
Right.
it's just fun.
That would be
Do
the
you
best.
have any like regulars though that like frequently like fly a certain flight or
Yeah, like I fly a certain flight to San Francisco a lot. It's like a 1 p.m. flight, and I always like there's always this one guy, he's always on there, and he goes up to San Francisco, like he works at Google. So he always is like in San Francisco or San Jose. He'll take one of those flights, but sometimes like the San Jose one leaves later in the day, needs to be there. He always chats with me. Such a nice guy, married 3 kids, like
oh,
that was whole life. And he's just like, Emily, good to see you. I'm like, hi.
oh, that's
So,
cute.
but people ask those kind of questions all the time. They're like, oh, is this your regular route? And like for a long time, like you don't really have a route, but I just like for whatever reason I'm always working that flight.
Yeah,
Nice.
someone at my company that's in sales out of the Atlanta area ended up marrying a flight attendant that I'm pretty sure he met while just like frequently flying on the job. I think he just
That is
finally
my
asked for her
dream.
number. Yeah.
Yeah. Ugh. That
That's
would be
your
a cute little
dream.
love story. Yeah, I think that's like an organic way to meet people.
It is because you're spending time with him, like, and if
Yeah.
you're working first class, like, there's also another upside to that too.
Yeah.
They probably have a job, they're probably working,
Yeah, exactly.
or they're responsible with money.
Mhm.
You don't
It's
gotta be
just
rich;
that.
you just gotta be responsible.
Mm-hmm.
100% agree. Yeah.
That's hilarious. I'm sending you positive vibes that you meet your person on a flight.
Thank you.
What are like your biggest perks as a flight attendant?
Well, we like fly standby for free. So it's kind of like I just went to Australia in March and like flew United Polaris, which is like the lay down beds for a 15-hour flight for $120, which is
All
like
right.
crazy. So I
That's
feel
a
like that's
perk.
like yeah, I feel like that's probably like the biggest perk. Like no one really goes into like being a flight attendant for the money because like you're not gonna make any. Um, it's kind of like a lifestyle of just like being able to travel wherever you want, like whenever. And I love it. I think it's so much fun. But yeah, basically just like traveling and like meet. I think like another perk is like you meet all these different people. Like everyone who's in aviation is not normally from where they're like based at. And so like you have friends like all throughout the US or like even like in different countries that like you can go visit and they'll be like, "Oh, like you can stay with me." And it's just like a nice like little family.
Yes, because you're
Yeah.
all transplants, and so you all need your local family. So what do you do
Yeah.
for like Thanksgiving and stuff like that? Do you guys kind of get together if you're not working, and or
Well,
are you able to get home?
I haven't been home like to my mom's for holidays in like years. But that's because I've lived like it was an issue. Like in Denver was, longer flight and now that I live even further, it's like going home, it's like a whole day of travel for me. Because you have to connect, like my mom lives in a small town,
I mean,
so
you're literally going like from the West Coast to the very East Coast.
yeah. So it's I don't, but I have two brothers out here in San Diego. So like I spend holidays with them and one just had a baby.
Oh
So
yeah, they're fun and handsome, right?
yeah, yeah. They're
Lexie.
ASL.
You know what that means, Emily?
American Sign Language?
No.
Whoa.
Oh my god.
This is perfect.
That was
So Emily's
perfect.
25. We're 33. And
Yeah.
age, sex, live. It's what you would type on
Location is
NIM.
always what age, sex, location is what I always, but live, location, whatever. But yeah, and the old days when you used to chat online on Instant Messenger, when randos would message you, they usually like kick things off with ASL, and you would have to say your age, your sex, and your location.
So you'd be like 33 F for female and then IA for Iowa.
Yeah.
Oh.
But
Yeah.
American
That's
Sign
so
Language, you're actually correct. I think you're more correct than us, but we're taking it old school.
Wait, that's so crazy. So were there not like you couldn't put like profile pictures?
No.
No.
Okay, are we missing any other perks like free flights? That sounds amazing. I can't believe you went to Australia for $120. And so when you're on standby, what does that mean? Do you get on most of them if you're on standby? Because we've all been to our boarding area, our gate, and we see the standby list. What does that mean?
So, basically if there's seats available for you, you will get on. Um, so it kind of like you gotta finesse the system a little bit. Like you gotta know like which days are good to travel. Like Fridays and Sundays are horrible days to travel because people are leaving for like a weekend getaway. But like Tuesdays are great to travel. So like normally if I leave somewhere, I'll leave on a Tuesday. And like with our system for booking flights, it's different than like a regular travelers. So we can see how many seats are open, how many people are listed on standby, if they're like a higher seniority than us, because that's how it goes. It's like by like what company you work for and how long you've been with the company.
Is there ever, okay, I have a friend that's a flight attendant and she had a crazy story. Is there ever a super scary situation that you've dealt with and you like have to kind of keep like calm for the passengers' sakes, but it's kind of a little sketchy
Yeah,
in the background?
like maybe it was like in July, like we were coming into San Diego, and so like we were descending, and like one of the runways was closed or something, or they gave us like an alternate route to go around, and so we were coming in from the east, and lightning hit our aircraft. And like I've never had anything like that, and I was like sitting in the front because I only work first class, and so everyone's looking at me, and and like people are like, oh shit, and like I'm like, oh, it's all okay, everything's fine. I mean, we landed and it was fine, but it was kind of scary.
What did
Like
it feel like?
it felt like you had like a wake of turbulence, like the whole plane shook. Like if anyone was standing up, they probably like would have hit their head, like been lifted up and hit their head on the ceiling.
Was
the
it like
mask go
bright?
down?
Yeah, like you could see it. You like saw it, felt it, heard it.
Wow.
It
That's
was
interesting.
crazy. I never had like anything like that. I've had like bird strikes, which solely, but just one bird. It was just like one bird, not a bunch.
Okay.
But I've never had to do like an emergency landing or anything like that. I've had passengers like want to get off because they're anxious, which like I don't think is that crazy. And I've had like medical emergencies, like people going into like diabetic shock because they didn't have like enough sugar.
Those are
Mhm.
scary though. And like
Yeah.
being at the mercy of people is scary because they're unpredictable, you know,
Mhm.
especially if
Yeah.
they're anxious or drunk or whatever.
Yeah, so it is kind of like you gotta monitor everyone and kind of check them out. But normally people are like really eager to help on flights. You know, they're like almost like always like every time I've had a situation, there's been like a medical personnel or like a military personnel on board like who's stepped in and helped me. Because I'm like I don't have like any medical training. Like we're CPR certified, but that's like about it.
Wow. And you're
Yeah.
probably certified in a lot of those things because there you are in charge of these people essentially.
Yeah.
when they're
Yeah.
on.
Well, we have like a book like where like if someone's like pregnant and gives birth, like there's like instructions on how to deliver a baby. Because like flight attendants have had to do that. I'm
Emily,
like, that's
what makes
crazy.
you qualified? I'm concerned.
Well,
I'm just
why
concerned.
are these people
I would pray to
flying
God
this
no one goes
pregnant?
into some. Yeah, I'm like, I pray to God. Like, I've seen like some pretty damn pregnant people on the. I'm like, let me know if you need anything, and I'm like praying to God, like, please don't need anything. Like, please don't need.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah, that's
Jeez.
insane.
Have you ever had like a famous person or anything like that that you've had in first class up there with you?
I had Ted Cruz on my flight.
Great.
Yeah. And then the lady told me, she was like, you should spit on him.
Yeah, you are flying out of Cali, aren't you? Yeah, they're probably not the biggest
Oh,
fan.
girl, like I wish. But, and he was a dick.
Was he really? Well,
Yeah, he was
that's
not
crazy.
friendly. He wasn't even in first class originally. Like, he didn't pay for it. He was in, like, premium. And then, like, he got upgraded. And
I'm obsessed with this information.
stupid. He wasn't friendly. Tyra Banks, not friendly. I will say,
okay.
my first officer, she loved Tyra. She was like, oh my gosh, like, I really want a photo. So she was like as Tyra's leaving Tyler's, or she was like, oh, like, Tyra, can I get a photo? And she's like, no photos. Okay. Like, I just was like, I don't know, I get it, but she was just, like, not nice.
The least you can
like,
do is
Yeah.
just either you could even be like, you know, I don't feel great about myself today. I don't feel like at least go into it a little bit or
Yeah.
something.
Or like if I take a photo with you, I'm gonna have to take a photo with this entire plane. Like explain yourself a little bit.
Yeah.
And then, like, when I first started working, like, it was maybe like maybe like 6 months in, I had like James Charles on my flight, and this was before all of his scandals.
This is
And
the YouTube guy, right?
Yes, he's like a makeup guru.
Okay.
And I like had all of his like makeup palettes and like used to watch him growing up. So I was like, but I was like so nervous to ask him for anything. He called me queen. I said, oh, thank you so much. Like, you know.
Aw.
But I probably had like famous people I didn't recognize on my flight. I would love to have Schmidt from New Girl.
Oh
I
my
would die.
God.
Oh,
All right. Okay. So Maddie doesn't think anything's a good idea that I say until someone else says it. So can you please tell her to watch New Girl from start to finish all the way?
Dude, New Girl is the best show. I rewatch it regularly. It's on Netflix. Everyone has Netflix. You don't have to get a new subscription. You don't have to get Bravo. It's
It's on
so good.
Hulu
It's just
too.
hilarious.
Yeah.
I just
Jeff is a
haven't
little
watched it.
annoying, but the boys in there are just so damn funny. You would love Schmidt.
Yeah.
You would think he was
You're
hilarious.
Schmidt.
Yeah.
I
He's
am?
you. Yes.
Yeah.
I'm a Schmidt.
Yeah.
You know what that means, you guys.
It's exactly what you think it is.
I don't even know. I can't even comprehend.
Aw.
There's a billion cajillion shows.
How
If I
many
wanna be-
times do you have to be referred to something before you actually do it?
Yeah.
Oh, it has to be my idea.
Ugh, that's what's frustrating about this. I know you're just being defiant.
I'm sure I'm so frustrating. No, I just don't like short sitcom type stuff.
You're just missing out on perfection, though, so I guess it's really your loss.
I guess that's on you.
Wow, I'm 2-on-1 right now.
Yeah, this is a nice change up.
I'm getting ganged up on hardcore.
Yeah, well, what comes next is worse, so you better just give in now.
I don't even want to know what that means.
I just threatened you, and I don't even know what it is, but I'll make it happen.
Oh my god. Anyways,
Okay,
Em,
back to it. So, with famous people on flights. That's very interesting.
yeah, sounds like you've met some assholes, and they're pissed that they're flying commercial and not private. Is what I'm
Yeah.
hearing.
It's
Yeah.
just like, beggars can't be choosers. So, like, pay up.
Yeah, that's so
Yep.
funny.
That's why I just sit in the back and keep my mouth shut.
What are the worst parts of the job?
Well, the passengers. They are mean. People are really mean. I had, like...
What's the craziest couple stories that you can tell us about how people act, whether it's consistent or whether it's a crazy story?
Well, normally, I feel like my mean passengers are from, Orange County. And they're going to, Aspen. I've had passengers call me the help, and they're like, I don't talk to the help.
No,
So
they have not.
Yeah. So, I
That's
don't
what
talk to the help.
That's what Maddie refers to flight attendants as,
Oh,
actually.
yeah,
Well,
totally. You know me. Fuck flight attendant.
She's like,
Yeah.
sorry, let me flag down the help to get me my champs.
Will you actually talk to them? Because I don't.
Yeah, it's true. Every time they came, she would just stare at them.
I want to murder you.
She's like, do you know who I am?
But it's so outrageous that you're not joking, Emily. That's literally happening.
No, I'm so serious. Yeah.
Who are these people? They're not people.
Well, they're no one. I'll Google them. I'll go on Google, look them up. They're not anyone. And they always have their little Louis Vuitton bags and just showy, new money type shit.
Yeah.
And I'm just and I've just kind of learned people who are mean to just normal people are just unhappy with themselves, and it's just kind of a projection. So I'm like, sucks to be you, wouldn't want to be you.
Exactly.
But
Yeah.
That's why
And
we
you
can
can't-
laugh, and it's so funny because all that shit's so meaningless. It's hilarious.
yeah,
You can't talk sense into people like that anyway,
Yeah.
so you might as well just laugh it off.
Yeah. But then I think another part of the job is we don't get paid. When there's delays, we're not getting paid for any of that. And people always bitch to us. And I get it. It sucks being delayed. I'm I don't like it either. I'm not getting paid. I'm just sitting here at the airport playing with my phone, doing nothing.
Wow. So you don't get paid until you board the plane or until the plane takes off?
Until we close the door.
Wow. That's
Yes.
insane. That's actually crazy news to me.
So
So
what
will I-
happens if you plane and then have to deplane or something like that?
We don't get paid for that. We could we can kind of get holding pay for stuff like that, but it's $7. We're not paid our hourly, and it normally takes we have to be at the airport 45 minutes before the plane departs. We're not paid for any of that. Like, anytime we're at the airport, we're not paid for. It's just like when we close the door. So it just sucks.
That's
Wow.
bullshit. All right. This is the one I'm excited about. I want to end on, if you have any flight tips for better flights or to help attendants out, how can we help you? How can the help the help? Or how can we help the help? How can we help the
How
help?
can we be of service?
I just think being like more aware. Like, if you see an open overhead bin, just throw your bag in there. You don't have to, they're not assigned. It doesn't have to go right above your seat because people think that. And having your bags, like, a lot of people stack their bags on top of their like larger roller bag. You know how like some bags have like a little, I don't know what it's called,
Like the
strap.
slip.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if you just have that already off when you get on the plane, so you can just throw it up there because it just holds up boarding. And I think like also it's really nice when people remember like my name. When they're like, oh, like, thank you, Emily. Like, have a good day, Emily. I'm like, oh, like, that's so sweet. I love that. I think that like makes a world of difference in my day personally. Because I'm like, oh, like, you remembered me.
Emily, I'm so intimidated by flight attendants when I'm on a flight. Like, I feel like they're there policing the flight and like they don't want to talk. And I feel like they give off cold energy. But now having this conversation, that makes more sense. And I'm going to try to do that. Do you feel the same, Lexie? Like, do you feel like I'm scared of them? I feel like they're there to watch over me.
I feel like an inconvenience to them. I think like I feel bad asking for things, or like I'm in the way. Like they're like, oh, just scoot your thing under the chair more. And I'm like, I'm so sorry.
Well, I think that's a universal feeling. And like a lot of flight attendants are really mean though. Like, I think that is really fair. Like, every time I fly, like, they're not nice to me. So, like, people apologize to me all the time, and I've, like, been trying to work on, like, not saying I'm sorry for things I'm, like, out of my control or something. But people always, oh, I'm so sorry. I'm like, it's not a big deal. You don't need to apologize. Because, like, I just believe in, like, making people's experience flying, like, you don't ever know, like, what they're traveling for. And I think, like, a lot of people really go through it and really get anxious, like, on flights. So I'm like, I'm not going to make it more, like, anxiety-ridden for you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You know?
A lot of time they're probably traveling, going back home because their dad's sick, or
Yeah.
they're going back for something that isn't a fun thing to do. And
Yeah.
most of the time, this is weird. When I've been on a plane and someone starts chatting me up, that's honestly been the majority of why people are traveling, is to go see their ill parents or for a funeral or for something awful. So yeah, there are fun flights, and you can tell which ones are fun. They're usually headed to Mexico and everybody knows it and everybody's drinking. But you know, the domestic ones, like from coast to coast and stuff, they're mostly like people like just trying to get on the plane, get the hell off, and like do their thing, just like you guys are too.
Yeah. So, yeah, I think it's just like, I always believe in giving people like grace, and like, I don't know why they're trying. And people, I will say, it gets exhausting working this job because everyone always tells me their issues. And I feel like I'm stuck, like, therapisting them. I'm like, girl, I don't have any idea what I'm doing with my life. Like, I'm not qualified to give you any sort of advice. But, you know, a lot of people just want to vent, and, like, you have to listen to them. But
you must give off that energy, Emily. You must give off that energy.
Maybe. I don't give off cold energy?
No, not at all. Not even for a second. Well, anything else that we missed that you want to talk about or feel like the people need to know, Em?
Not really. I just hope everyone has a good day.
Yeah, do your sign off that you would do like on a flight.
My sign off?
Yeah. Like
I'm like, toodaloo, ta-ta. Ta-ta for now.
No, well, thanks so much, Em. It was so good talking to you.
Yeah, you guys as well.
Thank you all for tuning in, and don't forget to follow us for new episodes every Wednesday on Spotify and Apple Podcasts.
Yep, and don't forget to follow us on Instagram and TikTok at Wait You're Mad.
Toodaloo, as Emily said.
Toodaloo. Bye.